Yeah. Good afternoon.
You're good? Yeah. I was about to say good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our 1 o'clock focus, haunted house.
Yay! Seamus, I
Yeah.
lived in a haunted house when I was young.
Really?
And I
How did you
really,
know?
so in Delaware, which is one of the oldest states in the United States, my family had a house with a lot of land surrounded by some trees. And it had once been a small plantation with a lot of
Okay.
crops. And I only lived there with my dad. My mom lived in Seattle and I grew up with her. But I lived in this house in Delaware for 4 months. And I actually left because of my fear of the ghost. So, woo, I
Great.
I had the little room. My sister and my stepsister had the big bedroom. My parents, my mom, my dad and my stepmom had another. I had the little bedroom with the door that went up to the attic. And frequently, this woman, very heavy set woman, with the head wrap and the apron, everything like an old plantation worker, would the attic door would open and she would just stand at the foot of my bed. And I saw her, I visually saw her, and I hid, but I didn't want to tell my dad or anyone because I was totally afraid that they would think I was nuts.
Okay. And how old were you at the time?
I was 9 going on 10. But fast forward 15 years, I was 24. My parents had remarried when I was 24. And so that year they came to visit together. And my parents told me that they didn't understand why I had been so afraid, why of the woman who came out of the attic. And I said, whoa, 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 what are you talking about? And my dad went on to describe her exactly as I had seen her.
Okay.
So
So,
they knew.
yeah, they knew her. Okay. Interesting. But they were not afraid, although they did leave the house too.
No, my dad stayed there until he and my stepmom also divorced.
Okay. Okay. But he has obviously met this person and realized that they're not scary, and he was wondering why you were scared of her.
But he never said anything when I was a child. So as an adult, I was, if you had said something, maybe I wouldn't have been frightened every night and hiding under my covers.
Giving you nightmares. I love it.
Yes.
Okay.
Have you
Very,
ever
very.
been, have you ever been to a haunted house?
I have. That's difficult to say. I don't know if I believe in ghosts, so I don't know if I've been to a haunted house, but me and my friends have participated in what we call ghost hunting. So we go to a derelict building that has not been So I'm from Donegal in the northwest of Ireland. It's very close to Northern Ireland. So in the past, there was like a lot of animosity between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. So there were lots of buildings created for, like conflict, but they are now derelict, or even just like old hotels, because there used to be a higher population in that area, but now it's not so common because it's mostly countryside. So everyone moves to Dublin for work purposes. So there are a lot of like old hotels that have closed down. So they're like big buildings. And me and my friends would go there, or would have went there in the past, to look for ghosts, because they looked like really spooky old buildings, and apparently there were ghosts. But I didn't see any evidence of ghosts. So I don't know if I've been in a haunted house, but maybe. We when we go on our ghost hunting trips, the idea was just to scare the other people that you were with, scare the people that were easily easily fooled. But at the same time, it was, you're like, oh, I don't know if this building is safe.
But no, you say easily fooled as if there were no ghosts, as if you are certain there were none.
That's true. I didn't believe at the time, but I don't know. I feel like I could be convinced.
Are you a skeptic? Would you say you're a skeptic?
Yeah. At the moment, yes. Until I get some evidence, I am a skeptic. So I don't completely believe your story, but I trust you. So in that way, so I'm skeptic, but I would have to see it for myself to believe you 100%.
Yeah, well, I thought that I thought that I was crazy, or I thought that there was something in the water, or that I just had that wild, vivid 9-year-old imagination. But when my father described her, and I had never told anyone because I was afraid they would lock me up like a cuckoo.
Maybe. You never know. That's what I mean. Even if we did see it, is the right thing to tell people about it? If we've seen a ghost, or is it not? Because then people will be like, no, there's no such thing as ghosts. So it's hard to say. But part of me hopes that there is a such thing as ghosts, because how cool would that be? Once we pass over, you could wander the earth as a ghost. Sounds cool to me.
There are some people that I plan to haunt. There are. Sole, welcome. Where are you joining us from?
Yeah. And can you use a scary adjective to describe the place you're from?
Ooh.
It doesn't have to be scary, but I just want to see if our students know any scary adjectives that we can use to describe places. So I'll introduce myself again, since we have a couple of new students here. So hi, Greta. I'm Seamus. I'm 30 years old, and I'm from the spooky hills of Donegal in Ireland. I'm from the spooky hills of Donegal.
Excellent.
Or the eerie hills of Donegal.
Oh, I love that word, eerie. Do you know there is a place in Pennsylvania called Erie, Pennsylvania?
Did you know that there's a place in Donegal called Pennsylvania?
Oh.
Strange. Actually, it's like right beside where I live.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very, very small area, which is interesting because Pennsylvania in America is huge.
It is. It's a very big state. That's funny. I had no idea. So Sole and Greta, welcome, and tell us where you are joining us from. And as Seamus said, if you can use a spooky, scary, eerie adjective to describe your city.
Yeah, describe where you're from. So Terry, would you be able to do that?
Well, Seattle is not very frightening.
Okay, so it's very modern.
It's very modern, but yeah, but Delaware, where I was born and where my father stayed, was there were things there that literally would make my skin crawl.
You could describe it as a ghoulish.
Ghoulish.
No? Ghoulish.
Beautiful, ghoulish. I love it, Seamus.
I'll put that one in. So ghoulish. So Ghoulish.
Yes. Not easy to spell.
No, that's true. I hope I spelled it right.
You did.
I think I did. Okay. So, Terry, can you introduce this focus activity, Haunted House?
Absolutely. So in this focus activity, we're going to be talking about some noises, modal perfects, and you are going to be writing a poem.
Oh, thank you. I love writing poems.
Me too. So look at this. This is wonderful. I'm Greta and I come from the mysterious Naples. In Naples, we have a lot of ghost stories. I think the more ancient a city, The more stories there are.
Definitely. Yeah. The more
What?
stories passed down and the more they are passed on, the scarier they get. And the further from the truth they normally get.
True. I
But
agree.
it's very good.
I agree. But
Okay.
great structure. Wow.
Yeah. Very, very good. Okay. So shall we move on? I think the first thing we're going to be doing is some introduction questions and then some noises that we would use to describe scary places.
Shall we move on?
I like that. Well done. They scared the, what do we say? They scared the out of me.
Uh, you can insert a lot of words into that.
Yeah, that is for sure. We'll just settle for that scared the heebie-jeebies out of me.
I love that one. Heebie-jeebies. That's great.
Okay, so number one, what might you find in a haunted house? Well, that's a good one. So what might you find in a haunted house?
Well, Seamus, I think by its very definition, you would find a ghost in a haunted house.
You would imagine, yeah. So you would find a ghost, like your haunted house story at the beginning. I'm afraid I think you told the story too early, and
Oh,
now everyone might have missed it.
uh,
But so Terry had been encountered by a ghost when she was young.
I encountered that ghost many, many nights over the course of those
Okay.
months.
Oh, okay. So
And
not once, many
no,
times.
if
Okay.
it was
Wow.
once, I would have thought it was a dream, but it was repeated.
Ooh, very good. So Greta says creaking. I would agree there. So something you might find in a haunted house is creaking floorboards
Oh,
or
yes.
creaking stairs or creaking anything. It's that noise that you're just like, oh.
Now, that's a great adjective. So, what
Mhm.
adjectives come to mind when you hear the word haunted? Creaking, Greta, excellent. What other
Good.
adjectives do you think of? We have the normal ones. We have scary, frightening, but
Spooky.
spooky. Love it. Okay, creaking. So,
So, Greta, have you ever been in a haunted house?
Sole, you haven't told us where you're from. Oh,
She might have.
so, Conaway. All right. Oh, well. So, Seamus, now I think we did talk about this before Greta joined us. So I
Okay.
asked you early on, have you ever been in a haunted house? And your answer was really interesting.
Okay. So, in another lesson, I told you I was from a place called Redcastle. Wait for this. This is hilarious. So, I'm from a place called Redcastle in Donegal. Okay. I went to primary school in a place called Whitecastle, but I went ghost hunting in a place called Greencastle. And these are all places very close to each other. So, as you can imagine, the Irish are not very good at coming up with new names of places. So I'm from Redcastle. I went to school in Whitecastle, and I went ghost hunting in a place called Greencastle. Greencastle is famous for its fisheries. Like it's got a port, like a small port, because this is the countryside. Lots of people use this port to go out to the Atlantic and to go fishing. But it has lots of derelict hotels.
Derelict.
Derelict. They are not used anymore. They have been abandoned. So I went ghost hunting with my friends in these hotels or these places, these forts even.
And what did
Because
you find?
I found a lot of rubble, which is like collapsed roofs, lots of old furniture, old objects. It was very difficult to see anything.
Was it
There,
hazy?
hazy. Hazy, I would use for like the weather. No, it's like the weather was really hazy. At that time when I went, no, it wasn't hazy. It was the evening time. It was starting to get dark, but by the time we were like in the hotel and came back out, it was pitch black. So it was really dark, really scary, which was good for the atmosphere. But unfortunately, we didn't find any ghosts on that occasion. But we were all scared by each other at some point or another. As all of us, we split up and went different directions during the ghost hunt.
So excellent. So I just want to share, Greta says that she said on Halloween 2 years ago, I participated in a tour for the most haunted places in the city with some friends. Charming. Great adjective, charming. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So Giuseppe, welcome. Where are you from, and have you ever been in a haunted house? So welcome. As you join us, please tell us your name, where you're from, and tell us, do you believe in ghosts? Have you been to a haunted house? Greta, I love the way you write. Personally, I'm quite skeptical, but the stories fascinate me. Excellent.
Very good.
So, Seamus, Greta
Yes.
says she's quite skeptical. What about you?
I agree fully with Greta. I am also a little skeptical, yeah. But I find the stories very intriguing. So I loved your story. So would you like to share your story with Greta and Giuseppe? So have you ever, or sorry, first of all, do you believe in ghosts, Terry?
Without a doubt.
Okay. And can you tell me why you believe in ghosts?
Well, I have encountered ghosts. When I was 9 years old, I lived with my father and his wife, not my mom. She lived in Seattle, and my stepsister and my sister in a house in Delaware, which is one of the older parts of the United States. And my sister and stepsister shared a big bedroom. My dad and stepmom shared a bedroom, and I had a very small bedroom with the door that went up to the attic. And on several different nights, I woke to see an apparition, a ghost, standing at the end of my bed, just calmly watching me. But I was so afraid. And I thought perhaps I was crazy, so I didn't ever tell anybody until I was 24 years old. And at that point, my dad and mom were back together. They were divorced for 22 years, and then they got remarried when I was 24. And my dad at dinner one night said, I don't know why you were afraid of the woman who lived in the attic. She never hurt anybody. She was very gentle. And then he described her form exactly as I remember seeing it. And I had never told anyone. So I believe, I have no doubts.
Interesting. See, for me as a skeptical, I'm trying to think why or how he knows.
Well, he knows because he saw her.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I
really-
want to believe that. I want to believe that. First of all, if I was super skeptical, I would be like, maybe Terry used to sleepwalk as a child and she would tell stories.
I
And then
did sleepwalk.
Oh, wow. Did you tell stories when you were a child while you sleepwalk or sleepwalk?
No.
No.
I did. But my parents did find me several times down the street in the middle of the street. So
No way. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You're possessed by demons.
No. Greta says, personally, I would like to think, I would like,
Yeah.
I would like them to be real. They would be a confirmation of the existence of the afterlife. It would be comforting.
Yeah,
Wow,
definitely.
I
I
agree.
agree. Yeah, very
What
good.
do you think, Giuseppe?
Hmm.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, so I was telling Giuseppe to share some of his ghost stories if he has any.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, he may be typing that, so there might be a little bit of delay. But while we wait for Giuseppe's story, if he has any, we shall continue with some spooky noises. Oh, a nice activity for our students. Number 1, I'm not able to share a story, but it's our tradition. Ah, interesting. It's a private ghost story or ghost hunting. He might be one of those mythic ghost hunters, like the Ghostbusters.
Well,
Giuseppe the Ghostbuster. Okay, so can you answer these questions? You can simply say 1 equals A, B, or C. 2 equals A, B, or C. So number 1, I shall read. What might howl? What might howl? A,
howl.
yeah, an owl, a wolf, or is it C, a bear?
So that word howl, what can you describe the sound? What is the sound?
It's like a loud, long, uh, oh, I could do it, but that it seems now it's too easy. The picture was already there.
I love this.
Yeah, I like it. It's quite scary when you hear a howl.
I love,
In Donegal,
but I love those.
yeah. In Naples, we believe. Sorry, I shall share the comment. So in Naples, we believe in. Ooh, Terry, I'll
Mon-
let you go for the Italian.
Monticello.
Okay, it's a ghost who is famous of making bad jokes or making jokes or doing pranks, like
Ah,
jokes,
pranks.
scherzo, like pranks, jokes. Quite similar, but sometimes you need to be careful. Very
So
good.
Greta has the correct answer. Wolf.
Very good. Yeah, wolf or werewolf. I love it. Okay. Terry, I shall let you introduce number 2.
What might creak? An old door, an old lady, an old record player.
Interesting.
So if I can't, Seamus, you use that word pranks. So how is a prank different from a joke?
That's a good question. So a joke is just maybe like, I'm trying to see how I can explain the difference. So obviously a prank is when you do something bad onto another person. You lure them into a false sense of security, and then you well, it's perfect because today is April Fool's Day.
I was
Okay.
just going to say.
Okay.
Exactly.
So this morning, I pranked my students by telling them that they all had a graded assignment this morning. But once they were finished the assignment, I told them I just said April Fools. It wasn't graded. But they all tried really hard, so everyone won in the end.
Now,
Okay, so that was a prank.
in Italian, though, this April Fool's Day, April 1st, they don't say April Fool's Day. They say, help me out, Greta or Giuseppe, pesce d'aprile, fish of April. Pesce,
Fish?
yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but isn't it, and Greta got the correct answer again, door, an old
Okay.
door. But yeah, they pesce d'aprile, and that's the 1st of April. I have no idea why.
Okay, interesting. I'm sure there's a story behind that. Okay, maybe somebody can fill us in. So yeah, number 2, an old door. Yeah, it would be strange if an old lady said creak.
I don't know. Think about a really, really old lady when she walks. Maybe her bones creak.
Her bones are creaking, screeching against each other. Okay, yeah, so yes, perché de aprile. Okay, interesting. Any reason why? So, and I will introduce number 3. So, what might pop? A cat, a beer bottle, or a balloon? Which of these might pop?
I don't want to see a cat pop.
Yeah, preferably not.
I don't know why that made me laugh so much, but
I was like shocked it was even one of the options. Pop, I remember the birthday parties. Don't pop the balloons, kids. Excellent, well done. So yeah, a balloon goes pop, a beer bottle goes probably crash, smash, and a cat.
or
Yeah, or yeah, if you're actually drinking the beer bottle and you don't break it.
yeah.
A cat, simply meow, maybe. But I think we'll see more of those on the next slide. Okay, so very good. We have a wolf, an old door, and the correct answer was a balloon. Okay, so try to guess which animal might make the following noises.
Fun.
Yeah, so on the right, you have all the animals. So we have a cat, a dog, a bird, a rooster, an owl, a lion, a mouse, a pig, a wolf, and a sheep.
Now, do we get to make the noises for each of the noise names?
After we get the answers. But it is interesting though, because you would imagine that the sound for a dog would be universal, wouldn't you? But in fact, Italians call the sound slightly different to what I would use in Ireland.
And very different from what I would say in American English.
Okay, yep, possibly.
So tell us, for number 1, what animal makes that sound that you see written there?
Yeah. Or if you think number 1 is very difficult, you can tell us any one that you do know. So even just put the number beside. Number 5 equals.
Seamus, can you help me? I can never say it correctly. What's the word for the word that sounds like the sound it makes?
A word for the word that sounds like the word of the sound it makes.
I didn't say that very well, did I?
You don't mean synonym, no?
No. That's a word that has the same meaning. I can't say the word for the word.
I'm not so sure.
So there's a word that means that the word, as it's written, sounds like the sound it makes.
Oh, I have no idea.
For example, I could say, Greta said, bark for a dog, squeak, I think, mouse, oink for a pig. So oink is not this word. That's the word.
What's the word? Somebody write it. I've never heard of that.
That's the word, Greta. That is the word. But I don't know it. I can't ever, even when I see it, I can't read it correctly. So anyway.
There are too many vowels.
Exactly. All right. So bark for a dog, squeak, bark, bark. Squeak, I think, mouse. Good. Oink is not this word. Anomana, that one. I don't know why I can't say it. Chirp, 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 chirp. Greta, does that help? Chirp, 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 chirp,
Yeah,
chirp,
go for that.
chirp, 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 chirp. Does that help?
Onomatopoeic. No. Onomatopoeic. It's very difficult. Onomatopoeic. Very, very similar in English, actually.
Ah, okay. Well,
You just changing the O before the EI and the C. C is at the end. So yeah, chirp is for a bird. Very good. And if I go hoot, hoot. So number 5, hoot.
now see, in American English,
There's more.
exactly.
Woo, woo.
In American English, we lose the T altogether. We say whoo.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you were doing the sound, you would do a whoo, whoo. Who is that?
Exactly.
Definitely, I think is one of the scariest sounds of all of these, obviously. Yeah, is the owl. Owl is
Really?
scary. But you never know where the owl is, usually. You're like, what? Where is it? And it echoes pretty well, so you don't know if it's near or if it's far. And it's got that like scariness to it.
And you don't know
Okay.
how big it is?
Yep. A roar. So roar. What?
Very good.
What animal gives us a roar?
A roar.
So it's going to be that. What is that? King of the jungle.
Ah, Simba. Simba's the king of the jungle.
Exactly. So we have the roar of a lion. Meow.
You're welcome,
Nice.
Greta. We're having fun.
Meow.
Meow. Meow. Meow. But they're missing the best sound for this animal, which is
The hiss.
I don't know how you spell that though.
Hiss. Hiss. Hiss.
Ba sheep, meow cat. Excellent.
Good.
Excellent.
Okay. Very, very good. And howl, I think we already kind of
We said
had
howl
from before.
earlier.
For the wolf. Yeah. Oh, the cock-a-doodle-doo. That reminds me of my childhood in the countryside.
Did they wake you up at dawn?
Oh, yes. And when I went outside, this animal would chase you everywhere. They were not friendly creatures at all.
Really?
So you would go outside, and if they seen you, they would chase you and just peck you. And they're small creatures, but it's not it can be pretty painful if they just keep going.
That little beak is pretty sharp.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing. That rooster didn't last very long.
Did you eat him?
No, we didn't eat him. We just took him up the field and let him go. But I think maybe one of the wolves or the foxes ate him.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry for that rooster, but he deserved it.
So Greta says, rooster, I remember a song, sing cock-a-doodle-doo.
Very good.
Yeah. Excellent. All right.
Excellent. Yeah, very, very good. When I see all these animals, I always want to do the collective nouns for them. So like the collectives for the wolves, a pack of wolves.
Okay. A murder of crows, a pride of lions.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. Really, really good. Okay. And be careful with the sheep. 1 sheep, 2.
Sheep.
2 sheep. No sheeps.
No sheep.
Can you think of any other sounds that each animal would make? Oh, I already pressed it. Sorry. But anyways, we can go through it. Let's go through it. So we can have, for a dog, you can also have the woof, the ruff, or the bow wow. The bow wow is very cute.
Bow wow.
I would imagine it's like something, that you're maybe describing to a newborn baby. Bow wow. And then the mouse, so you have the squeak or a squeal if it's maybe like stood on. If you stand on the mouse, might make it like a little bit more of a squeal.
Step on its tail.
Exactly. Yeah. So then you have the pig. So you have the oink, which makes it sound like really I guess. Would you say oink is like older, maybe, and then a snort whenever it's eating?
Ah.
The snort is always eating all the time. Okay, and then here we have the origin of the name Twitter. So from a bird, makes the Twitter sound, or a sing, or a tweet, or a whistle. So like some birds love to whistle. We have the owl. So we have the hoot, the hoo, or the coo.
Now, I think of coo like pigeons.
So do I. I agree. So yeah, the pigeon also makes the coo sound. Whereas we probably describe the owl as W-O-O.
Whoo.
Okay, you can spell it many different ways. The lion, so we have the roar or a growl, is another way to describe that. The cat, so we have the meow or the purr. Purr is very difficult to describe. So imagine the cat is beside you and they're rubbing against you. Yeah, and they're making that sound.
You do that well.
Yeah, thanks. Lots of practice. I have no idea. I'm honestly going to hold my hands up. I've never heard of what a caterwaul is.
I can help you.
Okay.
Have you ever heard two cats fighting?
Oh my God. Far too much in my life. Yes.
That's caterwaul.
Reminds me of my fiance. I'm joking. Sorry. Love doing that. Gotta love the insult.
Didn't hear that.
Okay. And then 8, so we have the sheep, which is ba or bleat. It's like, come on, like a longer me, like a longer ba. Usually the younger, the lambs would bleat. Usually the bleating lamb. Sorry, I'm terrible.
No, it's beautiful.
And then the wolf, so we have a howl, a snarl, or a yelp. A yelp you could use for a lot of things. Okay. Yeah. And then the rooster, so we have cluck or a cackle. Another way to say, yeah, cackle.
I think of witches cackle.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. True. I'm not even going to try and attempt to do the rooster's cackle.
Maybe a different time.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get some examples using modal perfects before this lesson is done. So, what modal perfects do we have? So you're alone in the house at night. You hear a loud bang. So let's read through the modal perfects. It must have been, it couldn't have been, it could have been, I should have, I wouldn't have, and I might have. So Terry, can you explain any of these modal perfects before we...
Well, so we use must when we are certain of something. So it must have been. I am certain that it was.
I always have a debate with must have. So like I love to ask my students, if you say, can you give me a percentage for must have on like how certain you are?
90 plus.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Usually students would like maybe say 100%, but if you were 100%, so you use must have for modal of speculation. So it must have been him. But if you were 100%, you wouldn't speculate. You would just say it was him rather than it must have been. So yeah, you're looking at 90 to 99%, but never 100% certain.
Exactly.
Okay. Interesting.
It couldn't have been. So this is an interesting one. It could have been is speculation about the possibility of something. It's truly one of the most speculative. It's really the one, the chin scratcher. It could have been. Now, I will often use it couldn't have been in a sense of it could have been.
Yeah, it's true.
It couldn't have been you. You wouldn't do something like that.
Yeah, so like who ate the cake? Couldn't have been Seamus. He hates cake. Or he is such a nice man that he would never eat someone else's cake. But
There
little
we
do
are.
they know it was me.
But it couldn't have, in the most technical, grammatical of senses, would be that it's not possible that it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it could have been. The opposite of it couldn't have been.
Mm-hmm.
I should have. Something that definitely I should have done it. It would have been better had I done it.
Okay, yeah. So kind of here, when we're talking about regret, I should have done this instead. Mm-hmm. So rather than speculating, I should have for regret. Okay, very good. I wouldn't have.
Wouldn't have.
So we're talking like about maybe an imagined result. So if you could go back in time using that third conditional, I wouldn't have done this. I'm not going to say anymore because I'm going to give the answer. And I might have. This again, so your modal for regret, maybe, or even speculation. I might have, or sorry, he might have done this. I might have done that. So you could use it for, again, both. So like speculation, regret.
He might have been.
Yeah.
He might have been at the party, but I didn't see him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So kind of a possibility in general. Okay. So can our students help us match up these exercises before the time runs out?
All right. So just give us the number and the letter that goes with it.
It's a difficult exercise, I must admit, but I think if you read it carefully, there are certain ones that go really well together. So it must have been. So remember, you are alone in the house at night and you hear a loud bang. So it must have been. You are almost certain this was the cause of the loud bang. So Terry, what do you think? So the possible answers we have is, or are, checked all the doors and windows. So definitely not going to help. B, the cat, she's a troublemaker. So it must have been the cat. She's a troublemaker. Maybe it's a possibility. C, forgotten to close the shutters. No, doesn't work. D, stayed here if I'd known it was haunted. So no, so you can't use it must have been, stayed, it wouldn't work. The neighbors, they are away. So it must have been the neighbors, they are away. Would that make any sense? You could say it must have been the neighbors, but then when you say they're away, so then that can't be right. So Greta is already in there. Love it.
Wow.
So 1F. Maybe I'm wrong, but well, let's see. So it must have been the wind slamming the windows shut. Okay, that makes perfectly good sense to me. It makes more sense. The possibility you could have is F or B, but a loud bang, the cat? It depends.
If she made something fall off a shelf, maybe. But I like this answer, Greta. I like this answer.
Perfect. Yes. So the wind. So it was the cat. Interesting.
Oh.
Sorry, my thing is a little slow. I honestly thought. There we go.
So did I.
Well, it would make more sense. It must have been the wind slamming the windows shut. But again, so the cat. Imagine if you have a cat that is a real troublemaker, then you could always blame the cat. So let's go through the rest. So 2, it couldn't have been. So it couldn't have been.
Greta says
So,
it couldn't have been the neighbors. They're away. I agree with Greta.
yeah. So yeah, it couldn't have, again, very similar to it can't have. So almost impossible. And it's almost impossible that because they are away. But it's not 100% impossible because maybe they came back and you just didn't know. So that's why we would say almost impossible. Number 3, it could have been. So a possibility. It could have been. So here, Greta says the cat, which I would have agreed because I think the cat making a loud noise would be
I agree
more of
that
a possibility.
one and three,
Could be switched. Mm-hmm.
I agree more with Greta.
Yeah, me too. There's more possible, especially if it's a windy night, that the wind slamming the windows shut is a possibility. Number 4. So I should have, and Greta thinks D, I should have stayed here if I'd known it was haunted. So if you knew it was haunted, Greta, would you stay there? So remember, should have is a good idea that you didn't realize. So is staying at a place haunted a good idea? Probably not. So which one of these is a good idea that you didn't realize at the time? So I should have.
Okay.
I should have forgotten. I should have. Yeah, so I think you can notice where the good idea is. So I should have I should have checked all the doors and the windows. Okay, so should have for good idea that you didn't realize. I wouldn't have. Okay, so an imagined result.
So, okay, so C5C, we can't say I wouldn't have forgotten. I could have forgotten because it's a possibility. But I wouldn't have is something that you did do that if you think about it now and you could do it again, you wouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say I wouldn't have stayed here if I'd known it was haunted.
Perfect. Yeah, so it's that third conditional. So if I had known, so past perfect, if I had known it was haunted, I wouldn't have stayed here. So hypothetical with a past result as well. You're okay, don't worry, Greta. And might have, again, so similar to what Terry was saying. So could have, might have, very similar, may have, forgotten to close the shutters. Okay, but very, very good. So just remembering that should have is for a good idea, would have for an imagined result, more more emphasis than the might have, could have. So, for example, I went on a holiday last week. I got sunburnt. Now I regret going on holiday. I should have worn a t-shirt, or I should have put on sun cream. Okay, that would be the good idea that I didn't realize. My imagined result, if I had put on sun cream, I would have had a better holiday, or I wouldn't have got sunburnt. Okay, so that's a kind of example. I hope that helps. So the fourth, I'm not sure what she means. Oh, I had my doubts about the fourth. Okay.
Okay. No, but really, really good work, Greta. And thank you so much for all of your participation. And the more that you participate, the more that we can help you.
Yeah.
And it's just definitely much better when the students participate. So thank you for all of your participation.
Definitely. The more you participate, the more we know what we don't know. We know what to teach. It's true, though.
Like the word you told us,
Yeah. Yeah, you taught us as much as we taught you today. Okay, but excellent. So I'm going to finish off by just leaving this slide on the screen so that students can pause it at this point and answer the question on the screen. So Sally is staying in a haunted house throughout the night, means all night. Okay, so throughout. Be careful, you can practice your pronunciation of that word because I know it is difficult for some. She hears different noises. So what noises could they be? You must speculate, use those modal perfects, write an example into the chat, even if you're watching this next week, this evening, next year. Always, so just pause the video and keep practicing. As for me and Terry, it is goodbye for now. So have a lovely evening, stay safe, and we'll probably see you again soon because we have other webinars soon. In fact, 9 minutes. Goodbye.